The neon lights of Las Vegas shimmered against the desert night like a thousand silent warnings. From the outside, the city looked alive, glamorous, unstoppable. But beneath the glowing towers and endless casino floors, secrets moved quietly in dark corridors where loyalty meant nothing and survival meant everything. Nick Newman stepped out of the car and leaned slightly against the door for balance. The throbbing pain in his leg pulsed again, a reminder that he wasn't as recovered as he kept insisting to everyone back home. He took a slow breath. "Still doing great, huh?" Adam's voice came from behind him. Nick didn't turn immediately. He knew that tone, half concern, half sarcasm, classic Adam. "Legs fine," Nick muttered. Adam walked around the front of the car, watching his brother carefully. He wasn't fooled, not even a little. Nick had always been stubborn, but this was different. The injury had changed something. And lately there were other things too: pills, painkillers, quiet disappearances when nobody was looking. Adam's eyes narrowed slightly. "You sure?" he asked calmly. Nick finally faced him. "You came to help me deal with Matt Clark, not give me a medical exam." Adam smirked faintly. "Relax, just making sure you don't collapse before we find him." Nick didn't respond. Instead, he looked up toward the towering casino across the street. Matt Clark was somewhere in this city. And this time, Nick intended to end it. Back in Genoa City, Sharon Newman stood inside Crimson Lights, staring down at the phone in her hand. She had just finished speaking with Adam and Nick before their flight landed in Vegas. Something about the call unsettled her. Adam had sounded calm, too calm. Sharon knew Adam well enough to recognize that particular tone. It meant he had already made up his mind about something dangerous. She walked slowly toward the counter and sat down. Her thoughts drifted back to what Sienna Bacall had told them only days earlier. One name: Riza Thomas. That name had reopened a door from Adam's past that everyone thought had stayed buried. Back when Adam lived under the name Spider. Back when Vegas had nearly destroyed him. And back when one terrible night had ended with a man dead. Sharon closed her eyes. If Matt Clark was connected to Riza, then Adam might be walking straight into the darkest part of his history. Meanwhile, Adam and Nick entered the casino lobby. The place buzzed with noise. Slot machines chimed endlessly while crowds of tourists moved across the floor in bright waves of color. But Adam ignored the chaos. His focus was razor sharp. Somewhere in this city was Riza Thomas, and if Sienna's intel was right, Riza was hiding Matt Clark. Nick leaned closer. "You really think she's still working the strip?" Adam nodded slightly. "Riza doesn't change patterns, she builds networks. If Matt's moving drugs through Vegas, she's the funnel." Nick exhaled slowly. "So we find Riza, we find Matt." Adam didn't answer right away, because his mind had already drifted back years earlier. Back to a dim apartment in Vegas. Back to blood on the floor. Back to the night everything changed. Years ago, Adam had been living under the name Spider. Vegas had been his escape, a place where he could disappear from the Newman name and everything that came with it. That was when he met Riza. She was sharp, fearless, smart enough to survive in a city that ate weak people alive. They weren't lovers, not exactly. But they understood each other. One night, everything went wrong. Chance Chancellor had been caught in a dangerous situation involving criminals connected to Riza's world. Adam stepped in. The confrontation escalated fast. Too fast. The gun fired. And a man died. Adam hadn't meant to kill him. But intention didn't change the outcome. Later, Adam quietly paid the dead man's widow enough money to keep the truth buried. Riza helped him cover everything up. That secret stayed hidden. Until now. Back in the present, Adam stopped walking suddenly. Nick frowned. "What?" Adam pointed toward the bar across the casino floor. A woman sat alone in the corner. Dark hair. Sharp eyes. Riza Thomas. Nick's jaw tightened. "Well," he muttered, "that didn't take long." Adam studied her carefully. She hadn't changed much. Still calm. Still dangerous. Still capable of ruining everything. Adam turned slightly toward Nick. "Stay cool." Nick frowned. "Since when do you give that advice?" Adam smiled faintly. "Since this could explode." Across the room, Riza lifted her drink slowly. And for a brief moment, her eyes met Adam's. Recognition flashed instantly. Her expression didn't show fear. If anything, it showed amusement. Adam sighed quietly. Yeah, he murmured, she definitely knows we're here. Nick cracked his knuckles. Good. But Adam wasn't smiling anymore. Because if Riza was here, Matt Clark wasn't far behind. And that meant the real confrontation was coming. Soon. Very soon. At the bar, Riza calmly set down her glass. A spider, she said softly. Adam stepped closer. That name's not used anymore. Riza smirked. Funny, I remember it very clearly. Nick stepped forward slightly. Where's Matt Clark? Riza leaned back in her chair. Straight to the point, typical Newman behavior. She tilted her head and studied Nick. You must be the brother. Nick's patience was already wearing thin. I asked a question. Riza smiled faintly. And I'm deciding whether you deserve an answer. Adam leaned slightly closer. Riza, don't play games tonight. Her expression shifted. She looked back at Adam. Careful, she said quietly, you're standing in a city full of ghosts. Adam's voice lowered. Where is Matt? Riza didn't respond. Instead, she looked past them. Adam noticed the shift instantly. His body stiffened. Nick turned slowly. And that was when they saw him. Matt Clark, standing 20 feet away. Watching them. Smiling. Nick's fists tightened immediately. Matt walked closer, completely relaxed. Nick Newman, Matt said casually, still alive, I'm impressed. Nick took one step forward. Your little kidnapping game is over. Matt laughed quietly. You still think you're in control. Adam moved slightly between them. Not to protect Matt. To protect Nick. Because Adam saw something Nick didn't. Two armed men had just appeared behind Matt. And suddenly the casino floor didn't feel so safe anymore. Matt's smile widened. Vegas is funny, he said. Nick glared at him. How that? Matt leaned closer. People disappear here all the time. Adam's eyes darkened. He could already feel the situation slipping toward violence. And if Nick made one wrong move, someone might die tonight. Again, the tension inside the casino felt like a stretched wire ready to snap. Matt Clark stood across from Nick and Adam with that same cold smile plastered on his face. The neon lights flickered across the polished floor, casting strange reflections between them. Nick's eyes burned with anger. You picked the wrong fight, Nick said quietly. Matt shrugged. I disagree. Behind him, the two armed men shifted slightly, their jackets barely hiding the guns underneath. Adam noticed everything. Every movement. Every exit. Every potential disaster waiting to explode. Nick, Adam murmured without looking at him. But Nick wasn't listening anymore. Months of frustration, pain, and humiliation surged through him. His leg throbbed again, but he ignored it. You kidnapped my father, Nick said, stepping forward. You nearly destroyed my family. Matt laughed softly. Your family destroys itself just fine. Nick swung. The punch landed hard against Matt's jaw. The entire casino seemed to freeze. Matt stumbled back but quickly recovered. His smile disappeared instantly. That, he said slowly, wiping blood from his lip, was a mistake. The two gunmen stepped forward. Adam moved instantly. He grabbed Nick's arm and shoved him sideways just as one of the men reached for his weapon. Move, Adam snapped. Chaos erupted. People screamed as chairs fell and gamblers scattered across the floor. Nick grabbed one of the gunmen and slammed him into a blackjack table, chips scattered everywhere. The second gunman pulled his weapon. Adam reacted without hesitation. He tackled the man before the gun could fully clear his jacket. The weapon fired once, the bullet shattering a glass panel behind the bar. Nick struggled with the first attacker, but his injured leg buckled slightly. Matt saw the weakness. And that was all he needed. Matt lunged toward Nick with a knife pulled from his pocket. Adam's heart stopped for a split second. Nick didn't see it coming. Everything slowed. The flashing lights. The screams. The chaos. Adam's mind went completely clear. He had seen this moment before. Different city. Different enemy. Same terrible choice. The knife flashed toward Nick. Adam grabbed the fallen gun beside him and fired. The shot echoed through the casino. Matt Clark froze mid-step. His expression changed from anger to shock. Then he collapsed. Nick stared in disbelief. Adam. The entire room fell silent. Matt Clark lay motionless on the floor. Adam lowered the gun slowly. His breathing was steady, but his eyes looked distant. Nick limped toward him. You killed him. Adam didn't respond immediately. He just stared at Matt's body. I stopped him, Adam finally said. Sirens began echoing outside. Someone had called the police. Nick ran his hands through his hair. This is bad, he muttered. Adam gave a faint, tired smile. You're welcome. Nick stared at him. You can't joke right now. Adam shrugged. Not joking. Police officers burst into the casino moments later, shouting commands. Everyone down, drop the weapons. Adam calmly set the gun on the floor and raised his hands. Nick stepped beside him. Within seconds, they were surrounded. Hours later, inside the Las Vegas police station, Adam sat quietly in an interrogation room. A detective placed a file on the table. You shot Matt Clark, the detective said. Adam nodded. Self-defense. The detective flipped through the paperwork. Witnesses say Clark had a knife. Adam leaned back slightly. That's accurate. The detective studied him carefully. You seem calm for someone who just killed a man. Adam's expression remained neutral. It's not the first time I've had to protect someone. The detective paused. Nick sat in another room down the hall giving his statement. Security footage confirmed what happened. Matt Clark had attacked first. Eventually, the detective sighed. Looks like self-defense. Adam didn't react. You'll probably walk. Adam nodded slowly. Good. The detective stood up. But something tells me you've done this before. Adam gave a faint smile. Vegas has a long memory. Back in Genoa City, Sharon's phone rang late that night. She answered instantly. Nick. Nick's voice sounded tired. It's over. Sharon held her breath. What happened? Nick hesitated. Adam saved my life. Sharon closed her eyes with relief. And Matt. Nick exhaled slowly. Matt Clark is dead. Silence filled the line. Finally, Sharon spoke softly. Adam did what he had to do. Nick looked through the police station window toward Adam. Adam sat alone, staring at the table. Yeah, Nick said quietly. He always does. Later that night outside the station, Adam and Nick stood beneath the dim streetlights. Nick leaned against the car. You didn't have to pull that trigger. Adam looked at him calmly. Actually, I did. Nick shook his head. You always carry everyone's problems. Adam smirked faintly. Part of being a Newman's. Nick laughed quietly. Dad would be proud. Adam glanced up at the glowing Vegas skyline. Let's not go that far. Nick opened the car door. Ready to go home. Adam took one last look at the city. Vegas had once been the place where he lost himself. Tonight it became the place where he protected his family again. Yeah, Adam said. Let's go home. The car disappeared into the desert night. And somewhere in the distance, the lights of Las Vegas kept shining like nothing had happened. Because in that city, something always happens.